This is the Dr. Berg Show. Live from the nation's capital, it's time to get healthy, lose weight, and feel great. Call now to speak with Dr. Berg at 866-561-4292. And now, Dr. Eric Berg.
Hey guys, we're back again. This time we're doing it in the morning. So some of you in the California time, it might be early, but you know, I'll alter them as we go. But I'm here to answer your questions. If you have a question, the number is 866-561-4292. It should be somewhere on the bottom of the screen there. But I have a lot of questions already. People have been waiting, so let's go right to it. The first question I have is from Margaret from Austin, Texas. Go ahead, Margaret. You're on the air.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call, Dr. Berg. I have a question for you. I started the ketogenic diet last Monday, and since Monday, that last Friday, I lost 12 pounds. And I'm now at 14 pounds lost. But the problem that I'm having is that I've been struggling with the fast pulse rate, heart pulse rate. Then I'm also getting these extreme muscle, like Charlie horses in both of my legs, now in my feet. So I've since purchased your potassium energy, electrolytes and stuff like that. I guess my question for you is, how long before I guess I'll start kind of feeling like I'm back to normal? I've taken the keto strip, so it appears that I'm very much in a ketogenic diet, but it's just the symptoms that I'm trying to overcome, especially the fast heart rate. Just even standing up. I mean, I'm not even doing anything.
Right.
But
Margaret,
I feel like
what is your pulse rate?
Go ahead.
What is your pulse rate?
I've seen it up to about 130.
And a resting?
Now, no, that I apologize. That is my resting time. And a lot of times now that a few days have gone by, my resting rate is about 103, 116.
So your resting pulse rate is between 103 to 116?
Yes.
And did you ever have a high pulse rate before?
I did not.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge. I think not to my knowledge. Well, I know I've never felt like I'm, going up a million stairs. I feel like I've worked out all day, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that, Margaret. Yeah, because the normal pulse rate is 70, so that went way up. Yeah, that's pretty high. I would do two things. I would start down that stuff like 3 scoops a day spread out. And honestly, I probably would communicate with my office, let them know that I'm interested in knowing your pulse rate over the next 3 days to make sure it comes down gradually. If it's not coming down, I need to give you some other suggestions. But if you're going into ketosis and you are already potassium deficient, now the problem is when you do a normal blood test, most of the potassium is inside the cell. So they're just measuring the blood potassium, which is not going to show up unless you're very, 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 very deficient. So when you switch over to fat burning, you're using new enzymes, new cellular machinery that require more potassium and B vitamins. So you probably were very deficient going into this. So you better make sure that your vegetables are between 7 to 10 cups a day of vegetable. I would do avocados. I would also do 3 servings of my electrolyte powder. That'll give you another 3,000 milligrams of potassium. It should start coming down. And if it does, great, no problem. Keep doing it. So it should happen pretty quick. But it takes a while. If you're that deficient, it's going to take weeks to really replenish the potassium deficiency. The other thing that can raise a pulse rate is B vitamin deficiencies, B1. So get some nutritional yeast, start taking that as well, and that way you'll go through this transition pretty easy. But the 2 main minerals or nutrients that most people need doing this keto and intermittent fasting is potassium and B1 and some of the other B vitamins. But those are the 2 things that I would do, and the fact that your Charlie horses are present. The electrolyte has also the trace minerals, calcium, magnesium, and all these other things. So I think that should handle it. And yeah, so just communicate with my office and let them know I'm interested over the next few days if it's not coming down. Yeah, so that's what I would do. Thanks for calling, Margaret. Hey, Al, you're on the air. You're from Michigan. You had a question.
Hey, Dr. Berg, thank you so much for taking this phone call, and I really appreciate it. I've been a fan of your channel for some time. I really have a few questions that I'm hoping that you can answer.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So I know you stressed the importance of getting enough potassium in your diet, and I agree with you. But should we be concerned about our sodium intake as well? There are some sites online that mention getting between 4 to 6 grams of it on the ketogenic diet. Is this something you would agree with?
That's a really good question, Al. Good. Now, do we have any other questions? No, just kidding. Now, let me answer that question. Yes, people are kind of freaked out about sodium. When you do a ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting, you're going to lose fluid, excess fluid, and electrolytes, not just potassium, but maybe even magnesium, sodium. So if you're deficient in sodium, a lot of times people get headaches. So that's one indication, or fatigue. So yes, you want to increase your salt on a ketogenic diet for sure, and especially if you take it and you start feeling better. Now, as far as you needing 4 to 5 grams, no, at the very most I would do maybe 1.5 to 2 grams, but that's like half a teaspoon of salt. It's not much, maybe to 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So it's not a crazy amount. But yeah, we increase the potassium, increase your sodium, because we need both. And that's a really, really, really good point. I just make sure that I eat salty foods. Like I do the cheese, I do the, I do olives, things like that. So absolutely, but you don't need like 4 to 5 grams. You're going to start retaining fluid. But if you take more potassium, you need more sodium. People tend to be on a low sodium diet, and what they really should do is increase their potassium to increase the ability to hold sodium, because they both work in kind of opposites, but you need both of them. So you never want to just do one specific mineral. That's why if you look at in nature, vegetables tend to not be high in sodium, they're high in potassium. So naturally we need more. So we need a ratio of 4 to 1, 4 times as much potassium as sodium. And that's why it's 4,700 to about 1,000 milligrams of sodium. But realize when you're getting salt, because let's say you have 1 unit of salt, well, that doesn't mean you're getting 1 minute of sodium. It's a lower amount of sodium because of sodium chloride. So you would want to have a little more salt to get your 1,000 milligrams of actual sodium itself. All right, hope that helped, Al. Hey, Chuck, you're on the air. You're from Atlanta. You had a question.
Hey, Dr. Berg, thanks for taking our call. I'm sitting here with my wife now. Question basically is kind of twofold here. Doing a ketogenic diet, we want to know if she can even get into ketosis, because she hasn't yet. It's been a couple months. I have. I've lost plenty of weight, but she's not losing anything, basically, a few pounds or so. Her issue is she's a thyroid body type. She's had a total thyroidectomy. She's on insulin, so has no thyroid. She's had a total hysterectomy. She's got no ovaries or anything. She's on Coumadin because of pulmonary embolism at one time years ago, and acid reflux, headaches, fatigue, all those type of things. So basically, we don't know if she's converting her T4 to T3. So we just don't know what to do. She's had some blood work last week. We're waiting for the doctor was going to check her for that. So, can she get into ketosis if she has all these issues to begin with, or where do we start?
Okay, good question, Chuck. Now we're dealing with a situation where a lot of people are not just doing eating plan because they have weight issues, they have a lot of other health issues. So you're going to have to deal with it. I really think that she would probably benefit from the membership site I have, because I have like over 250 videos on specific handlings of other health issues, because it's all about getting healthy to lose weight, not losing weight to get healthy. But let's cover a couple things. The fact that she doesn't have a thyroid means her metabolism is going to be extra slow. So that means that she's really going to have to practice the intermittent fasting more than you would. So for those people, I would graduate them to 2 meals and then go to 1 meal a day. Just make sure that's a really healthy meal. That's probably what it's going to take to get her into some serious fat burning. Now, hysterectomy. Of course, now the pressure and the stress is the adrenal, because the adrenals are the backup to the ovaries. So you're going to have to probably support the adrenal gland because of that loss of organs. I don't know if she retained her ovaries or not. Maybe she just took out the uterus, but still, anytime you have a surgery, it creates more adrenal stress. Now, the fact that she's on Coumadin, that is a drug that tends to block vitamin K. So she can't have vitamin K vegetables, which complicates everything because now she can't do the deep, dark, leafy greens. I did a video, if you search it on YouTube, on what other additional vegetables that she can have, like cabbage and yellow squash and things like that. So she can do that. She needs to watch that. She needs to consume that in high amounts. But unfortunately, it adds another layer of complexity. The other thing is the acid reflux. That is a pH deficiency. She doesn't have enough acid. It's an acidic pH deficiency. So you have to add, I would get the apple cider vinegar plus pills and start taking 3 to 4 with each meal. That should correct the acid reflux. So those are the things that you're going to have to do to make this work, but that's why it's slow right now. But you can still do it. It just takes more strategic handling of other health problems. Thanks, Chuck. Hey, Renee, you're on the air. You're from California.
Yes, hi there.
Hi.
My question was about vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that if I take anything over 500 milligrams, I start feeling like I'm on a caffeine high, the jittery feeling.
Okay.
And also it starts turning into anxiety.
Got it. Okay. Do you have any gallbladder issues or digestive problems, Renee?
I do have a lot of digestive problems that have never really, I was told I had gastritis, but I don't really know that I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had, off and on for the past 20 years, a lot of digestive problems.
Do you get bloating?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have constipation? Burping? Constipation?
No constipation.
Okay. And do you have any adrenal stress?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay. All right. Good question. Let's just talk about that. Vitamin A deficiencies can come from high levels of cortisol because the adrenals are working too hard. When the adrenal gland increases cortisol through the stress hormone, it depletes your vitamin D absorption. But it doesn't make sense that you would then take it and have these reactions almost like a stimulant. So more than likely, especially because you mentioned burping, that is a bile deficiency because the gallbladder is not releasing, for some reason, enough bile salts. So if you take vitamin D, which is a fat-soluble vitamin, you're going to notice that you're not going to break it down effectively, so it can actually create maybe a stimulatory effect. I think the best thing that I would do with you is I would take something called the gallbladder formula, which has in it bile salts and a bunch of other things to help emulsify the fats better, break them down. Take one after each meal. And over a period of probably maybe 2 weeks, then start adding a little bit of vitamin D into it. Then you'll start to absorb it. I would take vitamin D with the gallbladder formula at the same time so it breaks it down. But that's what I think you're up against. And then make sure if you take vitamin D, you take vitamin K2 with it, because vitamin K2 works with vitamin D together. So if you have too much vitamin D, you become deficient in vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 helps metabolize and work with the vitamin D. But I think the biggest thing is the digestive issues, that I think if you took that, that would kill 2 birds with 1 stone, help your digestion, help you absorb D3. If that doesn't fully handle it, then you might have a sensitivity to vitamin D. Believe it or not, some people have allergic reactions to vitamin D, maybe even the source of the vitamin D that you're getting it. So that's another thing I would look at. And of course, sometimes it could even be the capsule that the vitamin D comes in. I don't know. So take a look at those things, Renee. But thanks for calling. Hey, listen, Dee Dee, you're from New York. You had a question about your friend's heart issue.
Oh, yes. Thank you for taking my call, first of all. And secondly, thank you for all the advice, and the vitamins work pretty well on my adrenal fatigue, so I'm in the process of recovery.
Awesome.
Basically, what my friend has, he had a heart attack, a minor heart attack, while on an overseas flight from from America to Europe, while on tour, and basically, then after that heart failure or, minor heart attack, what happened was they gave him blood thinners while in Europe, and then they lasted for a certain time. And he's into holistic medicine himself, but unfortunately, he has both alcohol abuse and drug abuse past. He's off of alcohol and drugs as of now, and has been off, hard drugs for almost 20 years. And basically, what's happening is, I saw him before he left for this current tour, and he was so weak. And I was like, okay, what is your diagnosis? What did they tell you? And basically, they told him that he had reduced ejection fraction, prescribed him a medicine for that. His heart functions at 25%. And they told him, oh, yeah, the diet should be just basically no sugar. And, well, that is great. But basically, they also told him no fat, such as, avoid cholesterol and all the regular stuff what they say. And so I'm curious, once he gets back, and I'm going to be emailing him whatever we're talking about. It just, where do you even start with this kind of situation? And, obviously I kind of can assess that he has a liver body type, although not, not like not as like we joke about the guys in the Speedos. But, so I would assume there would be also fatty liver. But, where do you even start? If you have a doctor which is prescribing you certain medication, and then they say you cannot eat eggs or you cannot eat any fat, and basically take the medication, and I listened to your energy and heart webinar recordings, and I was kind of shocked because technically, how do you even go about this?
Yeah.
How to
Good
find
question.
out? Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, let me cover that,
you.
Didi. Let me cover that. The first thing I have to say is anything that I'm advising, check with your doctor first. I'm not going to make any claims that you're going to be healed or cured of any medical diseases. In fact, everything I say is basically just information to do research with you and your doctor. That being said, let me just give you my opinion on this situation to improve it naturally. The thing that you need to know, especially with heart attacks and decreased ejection with the heart. The heart's basically, it's weakened, the tissue is weakened. The heart is like, you have 4 different problems with the heart. You have the muscle problem, the circulation, you have valvular, and you have an electrical problem. So muscle, electrical, valvular, and then vascular. So you can have a heart attack from a clogged artery. You can have a heart attack from the heart muscle failing itself. That's and that's the one I want to talk about, because the heart responds to nutrition faster than any organ. Now, when you talk about B vitamins, you ever notice you got B1, B2, B3, but then it skips to B5? Like, what about B4? Where's B4? There's a vitamin B4. If you look, you'd have to research it to get the data, but vitamin B4 is specifically in research with pigeons, which I'm not going to get into, has shown to improve the heart muscle function. And it's something that is not isolated, but if you were to get a nutritional yeast product, you would have some of that in there. Unfortunately, in the B complex, it usually comes from unrefined grains. That's where you have all the Bs. But then when you grind the grain, turn in the flour, it oxidizes after like 6 days, and you kind of lose the B vitamins. That's why they enrich wheat. And then when you consume refined wheat, you start creating B vitamin deficiencies. So originally, if you can grind your own wheat, of course, we don't want to do that because it has gluten and turns into sugar. But if you could grind your wheat, you'd have nice B vitamin complexes and vitamin E. But that being said, nutritional yeast is the best bet to actually give some of that B4, vitamin B4, and B1 and some of the other B vitamins that he needs. That will actually make the heart stronger. When the heart suffers from B vitamins, it actually works harder and it loses its tone. And on an x-ray, it actually sags and it looks like it's enlarged. So it's cardiomegaly, it looks like it's bigger. So B vitamins, number 1, nutritional yeast in larger quantities, maybe 3 tablespoons a day. Second thing is he needs a real good vitamin E, not synthetic, as much of the complex as you can get. Vitamin E too will increase the oxygen carrying capacity to the heart, and more than any other vitamin. So it takes the stress off the heart. It's almost like a natural version of nitro. People take that to prevent heart attacks. So it will really actually help oxygenate the heart. If you look on certain mountaintops, most of the high-level mountaintops where you have mountain climbers that climb these mountains and they go in the high altitude, they can actually breathe better if they take vitamin E. So it increases the oxygen in the body. And you'll see empty bottles of these vitamin E. That's what I've heard from several mountain climbers. Like you see all these empty bottles of vitamin E. Why? Because it increases the oxygen carrying capacity. So taking a really good vitamin E, that's going to actually take the stress off the heart. As far as cholesterol goes, oh my gosh, I just interviewed 2 really key people who had genetic high cholesterol, and they did the ketogenic intermittent fasting with egg yolks, and they have normal cholesterol now, and you'll see those being released. So, I mean, think about it. The worst thing you can consume for high cholesterol is high carbohydrates, like refined sugar. So they said don't avoid that, but if you start cutting down your cholesterol, your body's just going to make more, and you're not going to be able to make the stress hormones, adrenal hormones effectively. All the hormones that are made from steroids need cholesterol as their foundation. So I disagree with avoiding cholesterol. I think he needs that. I think that's going to help his heart. I think he just needs to go on intermittent fasting, ketosis, do it healthily, lots of vegetables, the same thing I've been educating everyone on, and that's going to improve it over time. So if he's on a Coumadin, and that would be unfortunate because that's usually the blood thinner that they put people on, that complicates things because then he can't actually heal it. But he's just going to have to make up the damage from years of alcohol abuse to get his body back in a good shape. But B vitamins and vitamin E, that's the 2 nutrients that he needs to focus on. All right? All right, so then we have Rosalind. You're from Florida. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Oh, good morning, Dr. Berg.
Good morning.
I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
And I thank you for your massage tool and your adrenal pack and your wheatgrass and the wonderful videos. So thank you for sharing knowledge. I so appreciate it. I have a question for you. I have a condition called pigmentary dispersive syndrome and with the eyes. And recently it has caused elevated IOP. And I recently had the procedure, the SLT procedure on both eyes, and it did lower it somewhat, but it's not lowering it enough where they're comfortable, and they have me using latanoprost drops. And just wanted to know, was there any natural path for naturally lowering the IOP in the eyes?
Yeah, good question. Let's talk about that. Get a piece of paper and a pen and write this down. For this problem, I would recommend getting a Standard Process product. There's 2 products from Standard Process, the company. You probably can get online or find a healthcare practitioner, call the company, find out if there's a local healthcare practitioner in your area that carries these 2 products. But here's the 2 things. One, there's something called AC carbamide, which is good for the pressure, good for glaucoma, good for decreasing pressure in the eye. It has a natural form of urea, which is a real soluble substance that helps decrease certain edema and pressure, specifically to the eye, and that's what's in there. It's hard to find another product with that. A lot of times you'll find it in facial creams and things to hydrate the skin, but in this product, it's called AC carbamide. Okay, get that product. That will actually, I think it's going to help lower the pressure in the eyes. That's one thing. Number 2, there's another dynamite product. It's called oculotrophin, PMG. Oculotrophin, PMG. Okay? That product is amazing. It's great to repair the eye of damage. I'll give you an example. Like, let's say you had surgery on the eye. Boom, you need that. And it works like within like 30 seconds. It's just fast. Or like me. Years ago, when my daughter was younger, we're sitting on the couch, and she had an envelope, and I'm sitting there, and somehow she, brought the envelope up, and I turned, and the sharp edge of the envelope sliced my eye, a cornea. And ever since then, I mean, like, it was so much pain, and then I'd go to the eye doctor, and it would heal, but then the chunk would pop out, and they were going to put little holes in there. So there was a lot of damage with my eye, and I had dry eyes at the time, and so I had trauma of the eye. And nothing was going to fix that thing. I mean, like, I kept trying different things. So then when I took oculotrophin, PMG, it kind of gave the eye all the reparative materials that I needed. I mean, it was instant. I felt instantly better. So if you had a history of damage to the eye or surgery to the eye, take that one, and I would probably take 3 a day, spread out. I think you're going to notice a lot of improvement, especially if you had retinal damage or some type of past trauma, and it's not healing. Boom, do that. Oculotrophin, PMG, and AC carbamide. Okay? Hey, Laura, you're from East Texas. You had a question on thyroid and fasting.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks for taking my call. Yes, basically I have a slow thyroid, and I didn't know about it until probably about last January. And I am taking by standard process, the thyrotrophin. I know you've mentioned that in one of your videos before. I'm taking that, and I have adrenal issues, but I lose weight really, really, really slow, like in the last 2 months. And I've been doing keto for like a long time now. In the last 2 months, I think I only lost like 3 pounds. But I think a lot of my issue is stress, because I'm constantly worried about, I've got to get back into these clothes, I've got to fit back into these clothes, you know, why am I gaining weight so easily? And then I started incorporating intermittent fasting. But my question is, since it's so slow, should I just do the 1 meal a day? Because right now I'm down to 2 meals within like a 5-hour window. So, also, is the fasting in and of itself, is that going to help me with thyroid down the road? Is that going to help repair it? And are taking the thyrotrophin, is that going to do more harm than good in the long run? Because I don't want to be taking that the rest of my life.
So I have a couple questions. Number one, do you crave any sweets?
And not really, not anymore.
Good. Are you less hungry?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Is your energy higher?
Energy? Yeah, actually, it seems to be.
Okay. Do you have a history of gallbladder issues at all?
Not that I know of, but one thing, when I used to eat like a ton of nuts or nut butter, it seemed like I put on more weight when I ate that.
Okay. And last
like
question.
A lot of it.
Got it. Last question. Do you have a history of heavy periods?
No, actually not. For a period of 3 years, I didn't have one because of birth control and got off of that. And so right now, it's just been kind of normal. It's been lighter than usual. I'm 35, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Was there anything that occurred just before you got a thyroid issue?
Well, yeah, I was like super stressed because I was obsessed with my weight. So that may be why.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's just give you some things, pointers, Laura. A couple things. There's usually thyroid issues are secondary to some other thing, either gallbladder or birth control pills that will lower the thyroid. If you're still taking birth control pills, are you still taking birth control pills?
No, that's been about 5 years ago now. I got off of them.
Okay. Thyrotropin, honestly, you see some results. I don't see a lot of results with that. It's not bad as a supplement, but it's like treating the symptom. It's not getting to the root cause. That's just my opinion. Some people disagree. But usually thyroid is a bile issue, liver problem, or high estrogen, which doesn't sound like that's your issue, or high cortisol, stress. But I don't know, because I can't really see you, and I don't know all the history. But what I do know is that sounds like you're doing better with this, the keto and everything, but if you do keto without intermittent fasting, you may not handle the high levels of insulin that most people have. So intermittent fasting is the key to making the insulin dysfunction work, improve. So yes, I would graduate to 1 meal a day because it sounds like your metabolism is ultra slow. So the key to protect the thyroid is make sure you don't cut your calories. And what does that mean? It means that you just want to eat a really nutrient-dense, healthy meal. If you're doing one meal a day, you better make sure that meal is super healthy, lots of greens, and you're not going to be able to get by with just 3 ounces of protein in a small salad. You're going to have a massive salad, healthy fats, and of course, probably you're sensitive to nuts. Make sure those vegetables are not bloating you, so you might not want to switch it around. And make sure you have a good amount of protein. You're probably going to need like something like 8 ounces of protein with that meal, and then maybe get some digestive help. And that is the trick about doing one meal a day, is that how are you going to get all your nutrients? You have to really eat a lot, and you might get a little bloating, but you just want to make sure you don't cut your calories, and that should be fine with the thyroid. And then now, because you're getting improvements, and you're going to find over time, as the health improves, like your energy is better, less craving, less hunger, it'll start working more and more and more over time, because sometimes it takes months to fix insulin resistance. And some people need that one meal a day. That's what I would do with you. And the fact that it's slow means you must have had a really messed up metabolism or hormones at one time, and you're still in the process of healing that. So I would also not measure your weight every day. I would do it every 2 weeks and just forget about it. Put your attention on something else, because as soon as you start worrying and thinking, there goes cortisol. That's going to slow your weight down right there by being concerned about it. So get yourself really busy to focus on other things right now, but just stick with the one meal a day. Make sure it's probably add some of the supplements I recommend, like the insulin and glucose support, which will speed up the process of helping support dysfunction with insulin. So that'll speed you up. It's because it's like it doesn't actually cause weight to come off, but it actually helps the root issue to speed up the metabolism. So that's one thing I think that would help you. But other than that, give it more time, do one meal a day, and you will eventually lose the weight. I had one gal, just real quick, she had the same situation, but she didn't even lose anything for months. But somehow she stuck with it. She comes in a couple years later, it was in the winter time, and she just came to my office and she took off her jacket. I was like, what the heck? I didn't even recognize her. She had like, her body was perfect. She lost all this weight. It just took more time than other people, but when she lost, she really was happy with that end result, but it took a little longer, unfortunately. Just the estimation of effort is sometimes people see their husband lose weight, and then all of a sudden they're like, why can't I do the same thing? So they get frustrated and they give up. But it just, especially as you get into your late 30s and 40s, it's going to take a little bit more. Okay? Hey, Kelly, you're on the air. You're from Kentucky.
Hi, Dr. Berg. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. I have 2 questions. Okay. Basically, I am a CNA, and I work second shift, 2:30 to 10:30. And I don't normally eat until around about 1, because that's basically when I'm hungry. Mm-hmm. I work out in the morning time for at least maybe 30 minutes to an hour. I also am on phentermine.
Phentermine?
To try to help lose weight. Yes, phentermine. Yeah. To help me lose weight as well. But my question is, by me working the 2:30 to 10:30, and me actually eating my first meal, maybe I'll say 1:30, maybe 2-ish. My dinner time, schedule-wise, will be like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And I try not to eat that late, but I know I need to at least eat at least twice in one day, or at least one good meal, because normally when I eat at 1 to maybe 2 o'clock, it's something real quick. It's not something, real solid, I should say. It may be like a salad or something. It's just something just to put in my stomach, because I know I need to eat something. What would you recommend for someone that has that type of schedule?
Yeah. So the key thing with the third shift, you said the second shift, not the third shift, right?
Yes, second shift, 2:30, 10:30.
The key with that is not to do rotational shifts, because that's going to just destroy everything. People that rotate, sometimes second shift, sometimes third, or they might do it and then the weekends they go back to their same shift. It's really situation on the metabolism because it's creating confusion. So if you're going to do second shift, unfortunately, I would recommend maintaining that even on the days that you have off, if at all possible, and keeping your diet consistent so you're not freaking everything out. And even if it's a third shift, keep it consistent. So I think you need to focus on the quality of your foods to make sure that you have the vegetable and the protein and the fat with each of your meals. Now, I have videos on the percentages, you can get all that data, but I think that's what you need to do. Between you and me and the four walls, personally, I would not recommend the phentermine. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're trying to speed up your metabolism, but what you're doing is you're actually burning it out at the same time. Your metabolism doesn't need to be stimulated. It's overstimulated, and that's what this does. It actually will increase the adrenal issues, and it's only designed to do a short-term thing. So a lot of people who take it, they end up slowing the metabolism down the road. Your metabolism is an end result of good insulin. So once you fix the insulin, your metabolism will go up without trying to artificially boost it. So that's just my opinion. And I think it might do a little short-term thing, but then end up destroying things in the end. So that's what I would recommend. But that's pretty much it. I hope that gave you some tips there. All right, good. So now, Kenneth, you're on the air. You're from Atlanta.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Good. Yeah, I started like a ketogenic diet, I guess, about 2 weeks ago. Maybe I've been eating too much protein because I just did. I'm type 2 diabetic. I've had my gallbladder removed. But lately, my numbers have been pretty good as far as my blood sugar levels go. The doctors got me on Genumet, lovastatin, and lisinopril. And I was just wondering, because I looked at my numbers and it went from a 6.7 to a 7.0 on the A1C. I was wondering how long it takes for that number to come down. And I also noticed that my LDL went up to like 134. And should I be concerned about that?
Was that before or after you started this program?
I started like about 2 weeks ago, maybe, being on the ketogenic diet, because I noticed some of the numbers were not looking good.
Oh, so basically the LDLs, you found the LDLs were high before you even started?
No, they were actually in the normal range last time I had my blood work done, but this time they're higher.
When did you have the test?
Like 3 days ago.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right, good question.
So I know I can't expect.
Yeah.
I can't expect it to be overnight.
Hey, these are really good questions. Now, the question I have for you: are you doing keto and intermittent fasting, or just keto?
I'm trying to do intermittent fasting as well.
Okay.
I probably lost already a good, 5 to 6 pounds at least since I've started.
Okay, good. All right, so Kenneth, let's just talk about that. Definitely start watching the videos that I'm going to be releasing in the next week. Yesterday I just did 6 interviews with people, and you're going to want to hear this because some of these guys were diabetics, and then you'll see what their cycle is, because if the LDL goes up, and sometimes it does on a ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting, is because your fat cells are shrinking. A lot of that cholesterol in the fat cell has to come out. It's not burned as fat, so it has to go through the liver and the gallbladder, so it goes up. That's not a bad thing. That needs to come out. As long as you're having enough vegetables to keep it flushed, that is not going to be a problem, because it's going to eventually come down, even in some people with genetic high cholesterol, which, don't take my word, you can listen to these people that are going to tell you, and their personal experience, which is quite shocking. They even actually found doctors that were pro-keto and that says, hey, just give it more time, and it just eventually came down. Now, at standard cholesterol tests, they don't measure both types of LDL. There's 2 types. One is a so-called bad, one is good. One is kind of fluffy and big, that's just going through the artery. The other one is small, dense, and sticky, that tends to be involved in the reaction. So you don't really know which one it is. It's probably the bigger one. So the key is looking at your triglycerides. If your triglycerides are coming down and the HDL is normal or high, then you're fine. You don't have to worry about it if the LDL is high. Watch my video on that for more explanations. Now, the A1C is an average insulin over a period of 3 months. So we're just looking at average. So that's going to start coming down, but you only did it for 2 weeks. So you're going to have to wait a few months. But you're going to see it's going to come down, 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 especially if you follow the keto and intermittent fasting like I show people. Do it gradually, make sure it's healthy. Don't do it with low quality materials or foods. So I think you just need to give it more time. And then as you get better, the need for statins, the need for the medication will go down, and definitely get your doctor to reduce that, if not take you off that stuff, because the statins are going to interfere with your production of cholesterol. That can throw things off as well. We want that cholesterol to be normal, but again, the best thing is to get educated on it, learn for yourself, because if you're working with a doctor that doesn't understand keto, they're not going to really want to take you off of it. So that's the big problem. So you have to find someone that's willing to work with you, because the goal is not to keep you on medication the rest of your life. That's not the goal. If someone says that, like there's one doctor who says, well, I think everyone should be on statins. It should be in our water supply. Well, that's insane. So I disagree. All right. Thanks, Ken. Hey, Christine, you're on the air. You're from Florida.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for taking. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Thank you for taking the call, Dr. Bear. I am very pleased and very thankful for all your videos and information you give us so generously. Thank you very much. I just started like about a month ago taking the, I have been, say, healthy most of my life, thank God. And I thought that was really healthy until I started watching your videos, and there were problems that I was having, especially my nails were very frail. I had these ridges, and they just broke easily. It was terrible, and I never wore any false nails or anything like that. I tried to keep my nails, but it was really terrible for me. Until like about a month ago, I started taking the apple cider vinegar. And about 3 days later, it was just so amazing, and my nails just became so hard and strong that I can do anything. I have been doing everything I can. I haven't broken a nail almost more than a month, and that's just amazing and incredible. And my question is, well, I have other problems, you know, like my hair is falling, and this thing just caused me to wonder. I said, I know I have been looking and trying to follow the your advice regarding the diet and vitamins and all those things. But still, I am so amazed and why my nails became so strong in such a short time, and still, you know, I know that I have to wait maybe more to get all the problems corrected, but I'm just so amazed about it. That's my first question, and the second one is my eyes. I don't wear glasses because one of my eyes, with one eye I can see far away, with the other one I can see close. So it kind of compensates. But I noticed also that after I started with this apple cider vinegar, that I have been doing it faithfully for a month only also, it became like a little cloudy at the beginning, and I was noticing there was certain problems. It has been improving, I noticed too, but as I said, in a little slower way.
Okay.
So those are my questions, and thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the first thing, the reason why the apple cider vinegar works is because if the stomach pH is not acid enough, you're not going to break down protein. The purpose of the hydrochloric acid in the stomach is to break down protein, which guess what your nails are made of? in the hair, protein, and absorb minerals, specifically, you know, well, both regular minerals and trace minerals. Both of those are needed too to metabolize the proteins. So with people with nail, hair, skin issues, a lot of times you just need to acidify the stomach, bam, everything improves. Sometimes you need to add the trace minerals. I use a liquid, plant-based, which because they're 15,000 times smaller and they're easier to absorb, and then you'll be fine. As far as the hair goes, if your hair doesn't improve, that means that it's going beyond just a lack of protein, because the hair, you have to feed it. So one of the things, I have a hair formula that has all the nutrients in it, the B vitamins, the silica, it has stinging nettle root if there's an autoimmune alopecia. So it's very comprehensive to handle different scenarios. That might be an option for you. But I think the cloudiness in the eye is, it's improving, so I'm not going to say stop it, because in the transition of absorbing protein, and by the way, the eye needs to have amino acids to actually replenish it, I would just keep doing that until you get a lot better improvement, because this is a recent change. I have a video on the eyes that I think you should watch, especially if there's one eye that is different than the other eye, and it's simply an exercise to get the certain muscle in the eye more toned, less atrophied, to allow you to accommodate for distance or near vision. And you can do this exercise, it really does work, but everyone's like sitting in front of the computer all day, and you actually cause that muscle to atrophy. You don't go outside and you're like looking way far away. So, and you would probably want to do it with one eye versus the other. And probably the reason why it's one eye is there could have been some damage to one eye versus the other eye, and then now that's the weak link. So those are some quick things that I would recommend. Thanks for calling. Hey, Artie, you're on the air. You're from Maryland.
Yes, I am. Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Thank
good.
you so much for taking the call.
Sure.
I actually just recently got into your videos, but I started keto about 3 months ago. And I think I discovered your videos, I would say, about 4 to 6 weeks ago, and they've been so helpful. So I do appreciate that.
Good.
I do want to let you know, start off with, I do not have any type of health issues. I was just trying to lose some weight, just trying to be in better. I just had some stubborn weight that just wasn't coming off, even though I was trying to do like a low carb, blah, 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 blah. So I started keto in March. I lost about 12 pounds. And just to give you an idea, I started at 156, and now I'm at 144. My BMI is about 30%. And I started incorporating intermittent fasting, I would say about 4 weeks ago, where I do 16, 17 hours of fasting. And while I'm fasting, I'll do the apple cider vinegar in the water, and I'll do the black coffee. And I started incorporating HIIT exercises and lifting weights, and I have completely reduced my dairy, my cheese intake, and I've increased the vegetables, because I think I wasn't intaking as many vegetables until I started watching your videos, when you kind of made it seem like, you know, those are, I can definitely have unlimited amounts of vegetables. So I've definitely increased my vegetables. But I am at a standstill. I am stuck at 144. And I know I shouldn't just be looking at the scale, but it's very hard not to. And even when I went to the gym, and when they told me my BMI is still kind of 30%, I was thinking that with all the weight that I lost, I'd kind of be a little bit lower. So I'm just trying to see, how can I shake this plateau? I'm doing the HIIT. I'm lifting weights. I'm doing the intermittent fasting, apple cider vinegar. I mean, these are things I've never even thought I would be able to consume. The black coffee, never.
Wow.
So
let me ask you a question.
I don't know what else I can do.
Let me ask you a question. Are your cravings gone?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you less hungry?
Yes.
Good. How is your energy level?
My energy is great. Usually before I would go to the gym at night, I'd come back home and eat a scoop of peanut butter, because I would think I'd still need that protein. No, I don't do any of that anymore. I stopped eating at, I would say 6:30, go to the gym with my husband at 8:30. I'm fine until the next day, 11:30, 12.
Awesome.
That's when I eat.
Where do you hold the excess weight?
And even when I eat, I'm so sorry. Even when I eat, I'm really trying to do just 2 humongous big meals, so I'm not snacking in between. So I really showed a lot of discipline, and so when you're showing so much discipline, I'm not seeing the weight change. I'm kind of getting discouraged.
Okay, I got it. So where do you hold the excess weight?
Thighs.
Thighs.
My lower half of the body. My lower, my top half, is nice and slim. My lower half is where I hold all of it.
Have you noticed that your stomach has gone down?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have any excess weight in your stomach now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you happen to see my recent video on...
I mean, I do have a little bit. I mean, I've had...
Hey, Artie, you're breaking up, but I'm just going to answer the question because you're breaking up and I couldn't quite hear it. So, but I think I got the whole gist of it. I just recently released a video on where you would lose weight first and second and third. Unfortunately, and this is what really pisses women off, is they don't lose weight in the lower part first where they want it, other than the stomach, they want that off too. But the body will get rid of the visceral fat first, okay, and the gut before the lower part of the body. The lower part of the body, especially the thighs, especially if you're getting into your 40s or 50, is that that could be more estrogen weight, atrophy, which is cellulite, and not necessarily all just fat. So I'm glad you're doing the high intensity interval training. I think that's going to work over time. So let's say, for example, you have a combination of like loss of muscle tone, and you're also having maybe some fat, but it's not all fat. Your body will go after visceral fat deep into the organs first and not go after the lower part of the extremity. You may find that you hit a plateau. So what you're going to have to do is probably find a personal trainer that can help you with this, but not just do the high interval training, but do some toning and some compound resistant exercise to make sure you focus on the lower extremity and start working on that over a period of time to actually replenish the muscle density and the tone of that. Because it's not just weight. It sounds like you don't have any other health issues, so I think that's what you need to do. I think the thing that you can improve is you're doing 16 to 17 hour. I would go to a 20-hour fast, go to that, and maybe even a little bit more than that as your next step, and then give it more time. But I think you should watch the video on the cellulite video and improve that, okay? But let me just go to the board here and just show you what I'm talking about, just because some people have a question on that. All right, so if we take a look at the transition, the different steps that you would do. You have 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And step 1 is to avoid the snacking. So step 1 is no more snacking. And you've done that. So now we have, so in other words, you're doing intermittent fasting, no meals late at night, no mid-afternoon snack. You're just doing 3 meals a day. Okay, that's step 1. And then step 2 is to start to wake up in the morning and push this breakfast longer. So if you're not hungry, which will happen maybe after 3 days to 2 weeks, all of a sudden you're not hungry in the morning, and you go more and more. Let's say it's like 8 o'clock, you go 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and you start pushing the time that you don't eat. So you have a late breakfast, maybe it's like 11 o'clock right here, or even 12, and then you have your breakfast, or you can have your lunch and just skip the whole meal. And then let's say, for example, we skip this, and then we have 1 meal and 2 meal. And this process takes some time, okay? Because most people do burn some ketones at night because you're fasting, but they're not keto adapted. Keto adapted means you actually are tapping into your fat cells, and you're actually running on fat consistently, not sugar anymore. So what's going to make you go from one meal to the next without the hunger and the cravings is adding more fat and potassium from vegetables. So you want to maybe do a supplement with potassium or magnesium or some of the electrolytes just to actually help you heal the real underlying cause, which is insulin dysfunction. So the ketogenic diet is basically it's not a high fat diet, it's a low carbohydrate diet, and we just have to add the fats in there to make up the difference, which The fats are going to help you be more consistent. You can't do this on low fats because you're going to starve. You're going to be really, really hungry. So we have the ketogenic, which doesn't talk about snacking. So we're going to combine ketogenic with intermittent fasting. So that's why okay, this is what you eat. This is the frequency of eating. And add more fat, add more electrolytes with the meals, some B vitamins to help you adapt faster, because we're actually going from sugar to fat metabolism, and we're making this transition. And your body, it takes time and it requires certain nutrients. So give it time before you start adding these steps. And I have a lot of videos on how to do this. You should watch that. Now, the benefit of doing this is not just weight loss. It's cognitive function. Your brain does better on ketones. It actually, you will repair neurons. You actually grow nerve cells. I mean, it's incredible. It'll help anxiety. Because if you think about it, if your blood sugars should be like 100 and it drops down, hypoglycemic, and it goes up and down, as soon as the blood sugars go down, it senses certain types of genes that activate stress, because your body is sensing low glucose, which puts you in a flight or fight mode, which is survival mode. So you have this anxiety, this lower mood, and even depression. So when you do this plan, your mood improves greatly. Incredible. No more anxiety, no more depression, more energy. The need for sleep goes down. You're not going to need that nap anymore. So you can actually sleep better, need less sleep. I need 6 hours myself. I can't even get more sleep. Like, my body won't let me get sleep because I'm satisfied. So these are all just little factors in doing this. Even like seizures, epilepsy are all get improved with this eating plan too. But again, you want to combine it. Now, if you want to take it to the next level, then you want to go from, keep stretching this right here, and then push the dinner this way, slowly, to the point where we have a 4-hour eating window. Okay, so that means 20 hours of fasting. That's incredible. That would put you in good shape. Now, if you have a thyroid problem, you're menopausal, and everything is slow, then maybe you want to go to 1 meal a day. A lot of people basically do not need to do even 2 meals. I have bodybuilders that just do 1 meal a day because they're just not hungry anymore. You would think that this would be dangerous or you're starving, but that's not the fact. And when you experience this, when you're running your body on fat, you're going to feel so good you're not going to want to go back, because just the feeling of fat burning and the stability with your blood sugars and your mood and your energy. But you have to prove it to yourself. Don't listen to me. Just do it and see for yourself. So 1 meal a day. The key is when you go from 3 meals to 2 meals to 1 meal, you're going to, and personally, I don't do 1 meal. I don't think I could do that, but some people can. You want to make sure that the nutrients, not just general calories, but the nutrients are high enough on 2 meals or even 1 meal. So that means that if you're going from 3 meals to 2 meals, the meals have to be bigger. So how are you going to do that? You're going to have to increase the quality of food, the quality of vegetables. You're not going to do iceberg lettuce. You're going to have to do something like high quality. And you're going to have to do maybe some kale or a kale shake, or like high quality eggs are good, grass-fed, food, wild-caught fish, and probably going to enhance your diet with some type of food concentrate supplement, maybe the wheatgrass powder or something like that. But the point is that you might have this incredibly full meal with more protein, 8, maybe even to 9 ounces of protein, a little more fat, and a huge thing of salad or vegetables. That's what you're going to have to eat for that 1 meal. So you're going to be pretty filled up, but that is your nutrient requirement, so you can come all the way over here and not go low nutrients and end up with a situation where you're cutting nutrients to do this and end up with deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies, and then stress the thyroid. That's the mistake a lot of people make. They go on a low calorie, low nutrient, and they think it's just like intermittent fasting, it's healthy, but it's not. So the key is having nutrients. So how do you know if you're low nutrients? Check out your hair, nails, skin. If that's all being retained, your muscle density is doing good, that's all good. But if you have other problems like fatigue, and your weakness, that means you're not having enough nutrients, okay? So those are some of the changes that you need to do. And then one more point is that if you do this and you're going like 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day and you feel that you're like you're doing fine and you don't need as much fat, well then you can cut back on the fat because you're burning your own fat and your metabolism will adjust to the point where you don't need as much dietary fat. In the beginning, because you're running on blood sugars, if you don't have enough fat or like a keto bomb, it's really hard to go from one meal to the next. But when you're burning your own fat in some hardcore keto adaptation, the amount of dietary fat you need will be less. Almost like you'll feel nauseous if you have too much fat. So that's really a variable that you have to work with. And if you do keto adaptation over a period of a year and you're doing exercise on top of that, your ability to burn fat goes up by 3x or 2.5 to 3x. So you're going to become a fat burning machine on steroids. So you're going to require maybe some more fat, but you'd be surprised how the fat on your body, a lot of people have a lot more extra fat to burn, but it's more of efficient fuel. You only have enough sugar to last like 3 days, and then it's tapped out from the stored sugar. So our bodies have incredible amounts of fat that can be burned slowly, so you can go longer on a small amount of fat than you can on stored sugar. So that's why you don't need as much fat as you might think, but especially in the beginning you do. So anyway, I gave you a lot of data. I hope you guys got some tips this time around, and I may or may not be doing next week Q&A because I'm doing this convention. I will send you an email to let you know. But thanks for watching and have a wonderful day, depending on where you live. Okay, see you next time.